minutes from December 21st, public and non-public, and non-public from December 28th.
I will move to accept the minutes.
I will second that. Ex officio reports.
I don't have anything.
Neither do
I haven't been anywhere.
I. Me either. Haven't been to any meetings. It was a really nice holiday week or so. Public comment.
The non-public for December 21st, you made a statement that kind of covered. Can you say anything about the non-public for the 28th? Any consensus reached or any topic or anything?
That's right.
Just curious.
Is this the 20th?
The last one.
Yeah. So, we met with the police chief regarding personnel issues, and gas at the highway department, fuel from the highway department.
Okay. All right.
That issue's been resolved.
Okay.
Police are getting their fuel from the shed. They're not locked out. They're keeping the log like it's always been. And we also discussed D90. Or no, we didn't. We discussed that the nominations from the fire department elections, there were some people on there we didn't know. So that is still tabled.
Okay. Good.
Okay. Anyone else? All right. 2022 default budget. It's okay. Take your time. Can you give us a brief? You just put this together based on what we...
It's the 2021 budget, our operating budget this year with a few adjustments. So I believe it's a little less
Yep.
than
So-
this year.
Last year's adopted budget was $1,160,886, and our default budget would be $1,158,508, which would be a reduction of $2,378. Where do we sign front? Front page.
Right here,
You can put your little sticky note on it like you usually do for us remedial
Print.
kids.
signature,
Okay.
don't put the date on there yet.
Okay. Yep. I'm just waiting for Thompson. Thank you. Sir. Next on the agenda is a review of the 2022 warrant articles. So these are the ones we had discussed before that came from the department heads.
I want to bring something to your attention. The veterans, the American Legion asked for some money spent out of the capital reserve funds this year. Selectmen are not agents to expend at this time.
Okay.
So you would have to put that on the warrant, agents to expend. In order to get money out of there, or you're gonna have to put another warrant
as agents to expend.
Well, no, you can add it to the raise and appropriate the 5,000, the bottom one,
Mhm.
and then to make the selectmen agents to expend these funds.
Mhm.
Or you would have to put a separate warrant article on to ask for a certain amount of money to be taken
Yeah.
from that.
Which we don't know.
Right,
We don't know what that dollar amount is.
right, I'm reviewing our,
Thank you. Thank you.
so I'd like to know that.
Yes, absolutely.
I would suggest just adding us on. I kind of like to talk to somebody of the veterans and see what they would like, but I don't see the sense in a second warrant, I believe it.
Yeah.
When do they have to be in by?
Oh, we still got a couple of weeks, right?
We have a couple of weeks, but these are handed over to the budget committee.
Yeah.
So they can make their recommendations before the budget public hearing next week.
Then I would move to add us on to the warrant article.
I'd second that. Make selectmen agents to expend. Did we want to go back and think about that one about the records restoration, or are we good with it the way it is? I'm only asking because the question always comes up every year at deliberative. How many are there left to do? How big is that project? And we never have an answer.
There's a lot of books, but she's done a lot also.
Yes, yeah. Because I had even brought it up at the budget workshop that if it's still a very huge project that's left to be done, maybe we should look at setting up a capital reserve account. And that way she's not constrained to get it done this year. She ended up having to drive out to, where did she have to go? Somewhere in Vermont, I think, to get them done this year, because we couldn't encumber the funds for 2 years. And they didn't get done in 2020.
So we get matching funds for the state for that though, right?
She has to apply for it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's what I know she's done a few Moose Plate grants for it, but
Yeah.
not every single time, you know.
Okay.
I don't see a sense in taking it off right now, but I would like to quantify that project somehow. What was there to be done, what's been done, what's remaining to be done?
We could have some,
Like I said, I'm not sure if that's the best way for it to be done,
you know,
personally.
establishing a capital reserve account would require, is that a 2/3 thing or is that, okay. We could always just have Sue email her and ask her how many are left to do before we put this on, we'd like to know, so we have the information to give the voters.
We can do that and then roll it through and then really address it next year. I was gonna pursue.
Okay. If you don't mind, Sue. I know you got a busy week. So the other thing with these is, Sue had just written in here that the selectmen recommend, just because we were the ones who decided to put them on. Are you okay with all of that, or are there anything you would like to reconsider our recommendation on?
Are you supposed to put your recommendations on? I thought it was only the budget committee.
Nope, I'm good with them.
Okay. I think after the Jeremy Olson lawsuit, it was determined that we could do it whichever way we want.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Other warrant articles we would like to do. We had talked about adopting RSA 4114A.
Yes. That I would like to do.
Okay. To see if the town will vote to adopt, I had it pulled up too from other ones that we did. We can hash out the wording. RSA 4114A is relative to the acquisition, sale, or demolition of municipal land or buildings. And I believe, was it adopted before and then it changed? Is that why it needs to be re-adopted, or was it never adopted?
My understanding, it was never adopted.
Okay, thank you.
What's the purpose?
It was never adopted.
Okay. This, so the, RSA 4114A1. If adopted in accordance with RSA 4114, the select board shall have the authority to acquire or sell land, buildings, or both, and to demolish or otherwise dispose of buildings, provided, however, they shall first submit such proposed acquisition, sale, demolition, or disposal to the planning board, Conservation Commission if there is one, which we don't have to worry about, a Heritage Commission, which we don't have either, and the Historic District Commission we don't have, if the building lies within a defined district. For review and recommendation by those bodies where such a board or commission exists. After the board receives the recommendation of the planning board, et cetera, where such board exists, they shall hold 2 public hearings, at least 10 but not more than 14 days apart. They shall hold 2 public hearings, at least 10 but not more than 14 days apart on the proposed acquisition, sale, demolition, or disposal. It goes on. There's a carve out for a petition to change their minds. Either way,
And what's different than what we do now? I mean, don't we acquire land and sell land without that bill?
Only by deed.
Those are tax deeded properties.
Right.
That's
Yep.
separate.
only tax deeded, otherwise it would have to be a warrant article, it'd have to go to the voters. And this would give the selectmen the opportunity to do it in between town meeting days, provided the planning board says it's okay with them and we hold 2 hearings.
And you hold 2 public hearings
Yeah.
on the issue.
Yes.
Is there anything driving this now that wasn't needed before? If there's something coming up that we need this for?
It's always been, I think it's been needed for a while, but this particular year, the parsonage has been a big issue.
That's right.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, there's been a couple other properties too that have been an issue. I'm trying to think of the gentleman at Razor and Bullets wanted to sell us that corner lot or whatever it was.
Yeah,
There's been a couple, it's been an issue a couple of times.
Okay.
Deeded properties with rat traps on them that you can't sell, but if you blew the house down, you could get twice the money for it.
yeah.
Stuff like that. Cleaning up junk that should have been cleaned up decades ago.
Do you have any other ones, Tom?
That was the only one that I really popped into my head. I rattled it around a little bit, but
So last year we had an article on to raise the selectmen's stipend by $500 and it failed by not a huge amount. We are the, Orange it gets the same amount selectmen's stipend as we do, otherwise there's no one else around that gets less than $3,000 a year. And this has not been changed since 1989. And with gas prices what they are, I'll guarantee you I spend more than $2,000 a year driving around town taking care of things.
I would be for that. I told you before, I did the math, somebody aggravated me and I did the math. And it works out to like $1 and change an hour. Which means if a selectman, not me, wanted to play that game, the municipality is entitled to like 7 minutes a day of my time, is when you break down the math.
Isn't that all you give us?
You put me on overtime in 1 phone call. But that's in all seriousness, that's how it breaks out. And that's at a conservative rate of $30 an hour.
Yeah.
Are you gonna go for the 500, or are you gonna go a little less so it would be more inclined to be passed?
I'm gonna go for the 500.
That was
It's
the
not
problem I
fast, you're
thought.
going to get 7 minutes a day.
I was waffling between 1,000 and 500, honestly. It's still a pittance.
So-
Yeah,
Quick question, do you guys get mile reimbursement?
no.
So then that comes out with $500. If you guys don't get mile reimbursement, you guys have training,
Right.
you go to
Plus,
other
plus
towns.
they take out taxes,
Right,
so you don't even get 2,000.
Right.
so yeah, I would go for it.
I think you should be using the gas pump.
I have my
That was good.
Only difference, Tom, is you pay for that
Five.
gas. You pay for the gas, so that doesn't help you out much.
not in the long run, I don't.
It's the same word as last year.
Yeah, exactly, just copy and paste last year's.
Does the budget committee recommend it?
No.
I think,
Catherine never will.
I think,
She's not the only one though, so.
I think also at deliberative, if you guys can deliver it much better than last year's. Last year did not deliver.
I have
very well.
intentions for much better delivery at deliberative this year. We'll see how that plays out. The only other thing that's been brought to me as a potential, would you guys consider, is making the police chief also an appointed position like the road agent.
Mm.
I would be, I'm in favor of all of them.
You're in favor of them all being appointed?
Yep.
I kind of feel like I've got enough on my plate. I don't need to run around hiring people for jobs. Let the people vote. Let them figure it out. But I think, and this is actually a conversation Russell and I had a couple of years ago about him not having that job security.
Right.
You know,
Well, a lot of towns actually hire their police officers instead of voting.
It's gone back and forth in towns. There was a time when Canaan appointed that everybody was outraged at their police department. And so I think they went back to election and then now I don't know if they're back to appointed or if they're elected again.
Yeah, I don't know. And I'd want to make it clear to Russell that I personally think he's doing a really good job, and this is
I
by
think
no
it's
means
higher.
saying we want to get rid of him
I think it's higher because it's the same
and be
thing
able to
with
hire
the,
outside. Just
EMS chief and fire chief.
You know, it really depends on who you have for select board. At
That's
that
also
particular
true.
time, that's, you gotta look forward,
mhm.
like where you can be at as far as that goes.
A lot of towns will do the appointment with a 3-year contract, that way every 3 years it gets reviewed.
Yeah.
There's a couple of different ways to approach that.
But it is tough that you can get voted out of your career.
Exactly.
You can get fired from your career.
True, but
There's pros
getting
and
fired is usually reason.
Sure.
pros and
Voting can
cons
just
to
be
both.
personality.
Yeah.
You know, and we've also run into situations where, or I've been told, where people have run that weren't qualified for the position. Had they been elected, they would have been given the position and would not have been able to carry out the duties of the job.
Yeah, don't they
Yeah,
have
that would be
to,
quite high.
don't they have to go down and pass certain qualifications?
Not required till after you are elected in.
Right,
Yeah, and then there's a certain time frame where.
And what do you do in
yeah.
the meantime?
And at that point, if somebody
state
was,
police.
if somebody were elected and did not go through, say, police academy and pass, at that point, the selectman would be required to appoint someone.
Mhm.
Yeah, because then you also got the physical fitness, and the police academy is changing all specifications, even to get firefighter 1, they've changed to do that. It's physical fitness, so.
Not
Yeah,
to
and you
mention-
can't even start the training,
Right,
the academy,
Right.
if you haven't passed the physical.
Right.
Sorry, Tom.
I mean, you know, it could be, you could bring somebody into that position, it could be a year before they're qualified to do anything.
At
State
least-
police won't cover you for a year, they've already trimmed back what they will cover.
Well, I know that. I mean, believe me, we lived for years without coverage here.
Exactly, so you end up, you know, so it's not,
I don't think it's a bad idea.
Do you,
I'll make a motion to do it. I mean, Russell's mentioned it to me several times too, so.
Yeah.
I'd make a motion to.
okay, I'll second that.
Because the other thing that I'm all for, and I said this about the road agent position, why minimize your employee pool?
Mm.
In all seriousness,
Oh, I agree.
is there even another person qualified at this point in time to step into that position?
You mean in towns?
Yeah,
Right.
which is what you're
Well,
looking
I'm sure
into.
there is, but they don't wanna run.
We've had the conversation and we don't believe there is.
Well, we think there's people in town that can do it. But they don't want
That
to.
have qualified with the handgun training and all of that stuff.
What?
That have qualified with the handgun training and
I
all
thought
that
she was
stuff.
talking road agent.
No, I'm talking police chief,
Oh, police, right, right.
you know? But
No,
if
I don't
there's
think there's
somebody,
anybody trading him.
you know, I'll make the same argument I made with about Walter, that's on the road, the pop used to drive a schnitzer. He lives 30 seconds over
Yeah,
the road,
it's the same
over
year
the
as road
Danbury
agent.
line.
Change the year.
Perfect road agent should he have wanted to throw his hat in the ring.
Now you're back to road agent, see, I'm confused.
No, but it's the same thing. You can't hire the perfect
No, I-
employee because he lives 50 feet down the road on the
No,
wrong
I-
side of the line.
I agree,
You
I
know.
agree, Tom.
Okay. Any others? Tom?
How long do we have to get these in? Is there another meeting between now and then?
Any money warrant articles? We need to hand over to the
Budget
budget committee by next Friday.
Yeah, for other warrant articles, we would technically have one more meeting before the warrant has to be finalized.
Okay. No, I'm good for now.
Okay. Yeah, that wasn't too painful. Oh, I'm so sorry, I completely forgot there was an appointment. Deb, how could I forget you sitting right
I-
there?
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I know, first time being
Come
here.
on.
Should I come up? or-
Yeah.
Come on. Oh, jeez. God. Oh.
I didn't realize where you were. Well, I just heard you get up.
Steve, one about Tom.
So anyways, I get the Mascomer, listserv, they send out a daily email. And on it, the Enfield Mascoma Lions Club is trying to do a recycling challenge with Trex. And they want to collect 500 pounds of plastic film in bags over the next 6 months. And so I contacted them to say, hey, you know, you can drop off your plastic, like you walk in a market basket and you can put your single-use plastic in your thing or Walmart or wherever. And they have it in Enfield at the town offices where you can drop it off. And now I've also found out that they've got one at Canyon Hardware and they'd like to have one in Grafton. So I talked to the guys at the dump and said, at the transfer station, and said, you know, do you guys mind, you have to be undercover, and these are the basic rules of things we can recycle, things that you can't. Basically, it's gotta be clean. This is just what you can't recycle.
These can't.
And they would supply the container. The Mascoma Lions will supply the container, the plastic bags they go in, and then I'd be willing to pick them up and once they're full and bring them to their storage place where they're storing it. You know how much 500 pounds of that plastic is?
Mhm.
That's a lot of plastic.
Mhm.
And they're actually almost reaching their goal.
I said, well, I think I should get permission from the select board before we do something like this. So after tonight, I'd like to be able to go tell them yes or no, whatever. And I would like to, if it's agreed upon, get Sue to put it on the town website. You know, maybe that information.
Yes. No, we're laughing because there's been a kerfluffle with the new website going on.
Oh, is it up? Is it up?
Yeah.
I haven't looked.
Yeah, it wasn't supposed to until Friday, but it did. So now we're like, oh, but I don't know how to do this.
That's
That's why I'm laughing. So yes, we will try to get that up.
Yeah, I mean, I'd like to get actually those postings, you know, and I can send you to that, send them through the email, to you.
Yep.
And I don't know, do you guys have a color printer? No. Because I would like to also make small these, and the guy said they would hand them out, but I'm not so sure how necessary that is. But anyway, I may still do it, I don't know.
Is the library's printer color?
It is, but you know, you need quite a few,
Yeah.
you know, and I don't want to burn up their color.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, I'll think about that. I thought about doing some type of handout that I could just, and I made it so they were shrunken, but without the color, I could just put something really simple and
Yeah.
have it in black and white if I could copy it, if I could do it at the town hall.
Hey Deb, I would suggest talking to the Lioness Club, they actually might have flyers, and they could use their own ink and printers. And
Okay,
their own
I'll ask them
edition.
if they do. For sure, that's a good idea.
I'm all for it.
Yeah,
Okay, sounds good.
I agree. Thank you.
You're welcome. You guys will keep that, you want to look at?
So I can put it in there, it's okay.
Oh, okay. Thanks, Deb.
Yeah, they do yogurt cups, don't they?
No, this is only soft, Co-op does number 5. This is only soft plastic, and if you're using pellets, they really want those bags, because they're about the heaviest plastic you can get.
So the rule is if it touches food, because the Canaan Lions are talking about doing it in February. And
Well, this, Mascoma Lions includes Canaan.
Lioness,
Lioness,
that's different. Canaan Lions is separate, but they
Yeah,
joined,
it's
they joined, yeah, it's a little different.
where they don't talk to each other when
Well,
they're
we
married.
do, but, so,
Married.
anyways, at our Lions meeting, it has to be plastic that doesn't touch food. So you can't use like the meat plastic that wraps it around.
No, right,
So it has to be like plastic bags.
but it can be bread wrappers, because they're dry. It
Right,
can't be like
wet food.
vegetable, frozen vegetable plastic.
Right.
I don't mean this, okay.
Yeah.
But, you know, it can be bread wrappers, and all this stuff will be on, I'm gonna put it on the, local Facebook and ask the library to email it out to the listeners.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Thank
Oh,
you.
by the way, one more thing. If they achieve their goal, there'll be one Trex bench given to one of the 5 towns in the Mascoma district.
And that can happen every 6 months.
Okay, thanks. Is it according to who brings in the most plastic, or they're just gonna?
I don't know if there's
pick one
any
out of a hat?
particular criteria for who gets it, but personally, it's the less than the way around.
Fair, right,
I like the idea
absolutely.
of keeping the plastic out of the
Absolutely.
landfills,
Yeah.
out of the ocean, and, you know, maybe we can save a few pounds on our
Yeah, on we haul, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
The
Thank
bench
you.
is a cool idea.
We have a cemetery deed to sign.
So if I can have you fill out my notice, building measure, and also have you my witness. Just stand there, so 10 back, I'll just have to fill out, and then just your the witness and your address down there. And then I'll have one of these. Wonderful, guys.
Today's the 4th.
You want a gold seal, or is it going to the state?
No, it's, no.
No, you don't need a gold seal, or you want a gold seal?
No, we don't need to go, see- no, it's not going to the state.
Gold star.
Just wants to go ahead and sign?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I know you guys.
Oh, that's fair. Oh, John always goes through the whole, they
Deal.
sign this of your own free will in your official capacity. I haven't heard that.
I don't see anybody bending their arm. And considering Sue called me saying that you guys
Yeah,
can
it's a little psychotic.
notarize.
Thank you. Oh, I forgot to put a note on there. Before that goes over to Bonnie, make sure either you or me puts a note on it to let her know that they already got a copy of the regulations. That's why there's not a copy attached.
And just FYI, it's still in my main name. I looked up and until I renew, I can I'm still the same person, just in case anybody says, hey, this is my son.
Oh, sure, we know you, you know us, but we don't know you.
Yeah,
Who's
exactly.
that?
Fingerprints.
I had to like double check, like, can I still be Heather CB Camper or do I need to change it to Heather CBK Hunter? And can I just have your information in the last box there, since you're here? Just in case you want.
Next to Sue's?
Yes.
Okay.
Sure. Thank you very much. So all you need to do for here like that? Okay. You need to do the bottom. You're welcome.
Thank you.
Actually, I had to remind myself to make sure I write Camper instead of Hunter.
All right, next is an abatement application.
Welcome.
Map 15, lot 997, Kimberly and Liam Casey, 42 Boat Launch Road. This property consists of a 1997 era contemporary style dwelling situated on 10.36 acres. The total assessed valuation is $209,900. The owners filed an abatement application opining a market value of $85,500. The house sold on October 30th, 2020, and the homeowner states that the purchase price is a good indicator of market value as it was listed and sold on the open market. Also included with this application are 3 comparable properties. The homeowner also states that the road where the house is located is not maintained and they can only access it seasonally. It should be noted that we are accounting for this with our neighborhood adjustment and 10% off of the land for access. I looked on the MLS listing to view the listing information and discovered that the house was listed for $130,000 and sold for $85,500 in 9 days. Usually we do not see a drop in price like this in such a short amount of time, especially in today's market, which begs the question, if it was left on the market for longer, would the right buyer come along and pay the asking price? The interior of the house is all open stud, making the home just a shell. We would visit this property every year and never get inside, so the unfinished depreciation was always estimated and in this case, a bit overstated. I also called and spoke to the homeowner on December 16, 2021, and she informed me that the roof is leaking in several areas and there is some rot because of this. The house is almost 6,000 square feet. It is overbuilt, and to make the necessary repairs to finish it off would take a considerable amount of money. I believe the sale price recognizes this and therefore it should be taken into consideration. In reviewing comparable sales, it is clear that this is a unique property and there are a lot of variables at play that make it different from the others. One property that caught my attention was a 32.5 acre undeveloped lot that sold on Ruggles Mine Road, map 5, lot 91. It was listed on October 16, 2020 for $89,000 and was on the market for 231 days before it sold for the asking price. The reason it stands out is because the road is seasonal and it was listed at around the same time as the subject property, but stayed on the market until the right buyer came along. Excuse me. It should be noted that the subject property is a developed lot, meaning it is cleared with a well and septic. Given the aforementioned, the following changes should be made. Increase temporary depreciation to 55% to account for unfinished areas and leaking roof. Add a functional depreciation of 10% for layout, design, and overbuild. The result of these changes reduces the overall assessed value from $209,900 to $131,100. And I recommend that an abatement be processed for the $78,800 value difference. What do you think, Tom? Have you seen this one?
This was the one where they were assuming that it was a complete house because there was nobody ever there to let them in.
Yes.
It is what it is.
Make a motion to accept the assessor's recommendation.
Make a motion to accept the assessor's recommendation.
I second that.
I mean, it is just a gutted shell.
It is.
That's that house.
Yeah.
I always
It's round.
Yeah.
It's octagonal.
Yeah.
Round, yeah, it's something like that.
What road is it on?
Boat launch road?
It's
Oh,
over behind.
it's up behind,
Mary's-
it's up behind Mary Guesthouse.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
That's too bad. That's a shame.
Sort of a cool house.
Yeah.
Yep, yep.
Yeah, I remember, that's why I always wondered what it looked like inside, because it was such a cool looking little house.
You know where Boat Launch Road is up on Kinsman? You're thinking the two stairs.
Yeah, I think it is.
We have a veterans tax credit. Sue checked it all out. DD 214 is good. Everything's kosher. Did I do that? Great. Next is revisiting the building notification that Sharon Clark submitted for map 12 lot 87-4. So, did this come in an email? No, Sharon brought this letter. Regarding building notification, dear Selectman, my name is Chan Cow. I am the owner of the property at 272 Turnpike Road, Grafton, New Hampshire. Recently, Sharon Clark submitted a building notification for a tiny house. I want to affirm my intention to let Sharon park the tiny house on my property. The tiny house is on wheels and has dimensions of 8 foot by 16 foot. Please find further descriptions of the unit in the building notification application. With this letter, I hope you will approve the application for the tiny house. Thank you for exercising caution for the purpose of protecting my private property rights. Sincerely, Chan Cow, dated 12/26/2021.
Okay. So, I believe Jenny and I both told you that we would like to speak to Jan. You are aware that a home built on somebody else's property, any smaller than dimensions of 8 by 40, that is a manufactured home, is considered real property and therefore will increase his property taxes. We are required by law to notify him of this. So I will not sign off on anything that will increase somebody else's property taxes until I have their smiling face sitting in that chair, so I can have a conversation with them about it. Tiny homes are not considered a manufactured home. They do not meet the criteria, and that is from the attorney this afternoon. There is also questions surrounding whose name should be on that application as a result of that. So there's several problems with this on several levels, because it is not a deeded building like a mobile home. There seems to be some question as to whether or not Chan should be submitting a building notification where the building will be on his property and he will be paying taxes on it.
I would agree that I think the property owner should be the one filing the building notification.
whatever his
Gray,
name is,
yeah.
he's the one I reached out to, and he's kind of stepping out of that office.
Yep,
And I spoke to
Stephen Buckley.
Stephen Buckley. And we got off on another tangent and never resolved the name thing 100%, but I will reach back out to him. So that's where I stand at this, and it's the law, we have to notify him of anything that we know about this being put on that property that he'll be taxed for, whether it be a tiny house or any real property that will impact his taxes. The select board or the governing body of the town is required by law to notify him.
And I believe, does our building notification also have a place where fines could be imposed? No. I thought there was something, it could be up to $100
That's in the ordinance.
in the
But
ordinance.
it's not on the notification itself.
Okay. I don't wanna go down that road, but I'd really like Chan to be the one who's signing his name on something saying he wants to build, or I guess it's a moot point, it was built.
I don't
Yeah, the
think
contract, there could be a contract between him and her.
That's
Yeah,
between
so
him
who
and
owns
her.
it.
That's between him and her.
Right, exactly, that's what I'm
Right.
saying, that's not in the town.
Right.
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 We're not gonna establish another property tax card for this tiny house, because it's on his property. Okay?
As far as the state looks at them right now, they're not even really looked at as homes.
Oh, well,
They meet the qualifications, but
Yeah.
they don't meet the dimensions. Manufactured homes, mobile homes, things like that are deeded. That's why you see, because I was confused, because I was told we have some town people putting, trailer homes here and manufactured homes there, and working property. They are deeded. Like you get a title to your car, there is a deed to the mobile home.
right, I understand that.
So that is,
What about this guy up on Turnpike up the road there that's living in one of those box trailers? I mean, I'm good with it personally, I'm just wondering, that gets taxed, correct?
if it is not 8 foot by 40 foot,
He's getting taxed for it.
No, he is
then
getting
they-
taxed for it.
then they deeded it, yeah, so they must have.
So he had to put it in
So-
a building?
So Sue has email address for Chan that he responded to. So should we invite him to the next select?
Right
meeting?
on up, give them a
Yeah.
slot, bring them on down.
Yeah, thank you, Sue.
Should she register it like a camper?
I don't think you can.
I don't think
You
you can.
can't register it like a camper if it's a movable on wheels.
Or a trailer?
Why couldn't you? It's a trailer.
The trailer.
You
Just
can
a
do the
trailer.
trailer, but not
It's
the house.
really, I've looked into it, you're going way down, I mean, if you wanna come down the rabbit hole with me, I'm happy to bring you.
I mean, if it was
Oh,
Oh,
I've
I'm
looked
just
into it.
asking.
It's, there was legislation proposed earlier last year to resolve all of this. And it got all put on the back burner because of the COVID and this and that and the other thing to resolve what it can be done. There are limitations on, it got things to do surrounding, well, you can't really call it a trailer because people live in it and it's got this and it's got that, it's got the other thing, so you can't really consider it that because it's a full-time residence, it's kind of what it boiled down to. So there was legislation proposed by the state as to where you can put them, how many you can put. You can't take one to a mobile home park and call it a mobile home because it is not a mobile home. It doesn't meet the qualifications. So you can't plate them and register them like that because it's a year-round occupancy where a mobile home is not considered a year-round occupancy.
There
Well,
must
mobile
be a
home
way
is, you're
around
saying
that.
a camper. A camper's not considered year-round, but lots of people in Grafton live in campers. I mean, there's one right down the road. People are slapping styrofoam up around it. They live in it. What's the difference between working on a camper or working on a trailer that somebody's gonna use as a camper? It's just a homemade camper.
I found out what I found out. Just because, and I'll go back to this.
My campers are bigger than her trailer.
Just because somebody does it doesn't mean it's right. I
No.
drove drunk for 20 years.
No,
It
no,
don't
that's,
make it right.
that's, now you're getting off the deep end. What is the distinction
No,
between
it is what it is.
a camper and her trailer? What's the difference? That's my question. What is it about her trailer specifically that is any different from a
Because
camper?
she's claiming it is a home. And she's
A dwelling.
putting in a building notification. They're claiming it as a structure.
And I'm saying that's a mistake, I played it, there's me. And then somebody complains, move it from time to time, it's a trailer.
And you for trying
A
to.
lot of people live in campers here.
I understand. I looked at that because that was the first thought through my head.
They get taxed for them too.
And
Yeah,
they don't,
they do.
yeah,
Even plated, I thought that was the line.
No, that wasn't, that's actually what changed, because that was the one on, it was on Wild Meadow Road.
They get
That
taxed for
started
what?
You get taxed on trailers,
Yeah.
on campers.
Yeah.
If it's not moving all the, on
Yeah,
a regular
right.
basis as.
And that you don't
scheduled.
register it.
Yeah,
Even if it's registered,
yes,
you still get taxed on it.
yes,
If it's not moving, right?
yes.
and it's still considered real property because it's not deeded.
Huh.
So really, wherever you drop that, if it was to be sitting there when it was surveyed or assessed, according to what I was told today, if somebody was living in it, they would consider it an addition or an outbuilding, and it would change the property tax. That's how they're considered now. They're considered, if there is nothing on the property, they are considered a primary residence. If there is, in this case, a house on the property that's occupied, and you bring one in, it's considered an addition or an outbuilding. That's just what I got.
Better to ask forgiveness than permission.
All right, correspondence.
After you asking that question about dwelling versus building, the last meeting, in relation to our subdivision regulations, I went and checked into it, and, I mean, I agree fully that we should have consistency between what's in the subdivision regulations and what's in the building permits, or building notifications. It sounds like we're talking about a dwelling versus a building. I mean, yet, it's not really discussed in those terms in the building notification. So, I mean, there is a lot of
There needs to be clarification
inconsistency
made.
there.
There needs to be clarification made above our pay grade as to what is what and what they're gonna be called before we can really make decisions on what we're going to call them.
And you're saying that's at the state level?
It's at the state level. There was a rather lengthy bill introduced last year on how they were gonna handle them because there's such an influx of them. This is kind of a new thing that New Hampshire's dealing with, is they're popping up. I mean, if you go online and Google it, there's people getting dragged out all over the place because they don't meet zoning laws. They're calling them homes, they're claiming them as residences, they're dropping them on property lines and they're getting dragged away. They're dropping them in right-of-ways and they're getting dragged away. They're trying, they tried to put a definition on them and it got pushed to the back burner and didn't get any traction, got ignored, rolled by, and it's gonna be proposed again this year.
So given the fact that Grafton has very loose zoning anyway, I mean, is there really an issue?
My issue is I'm not gonna let anybody put anything on anybody's property that's gonna affect their tax rate. I am not, what's the difference if I give Sue permission to build a house on your property? Because that's an essential what it would be doing. And you pay the taxes for it.
How does it work when someone rents or sublets land to someone else on their property?
That's their problem. The landowner gets taxed. That's why I called the attorneys. I wanted very crystal clear answers.
Right. But
You lease property.
Yeah.
I lease property from you.
Right.
I build a warehouse on it. You get charged the taxes.
Okay, so,
Not a warehouse, but bad example. I build a home on it.
okay,
You pay the taxes.
but you just said that there's no.
I think what he's saying, Gary, is
Between them, right?
the landowner has to. put
That's
in
your
the
problem.
building
The
notification.
the problem between a tenant and a landlord is your problem. The tax man says it's yours.
Right.
How you arrange it with the tenant or whatever, I don't care. I'm just letting you know. If I was to give Maureen a building notification to build on your property and she did, you would be held responsible for the tax. the situation, it could become almost
You wanna get
impossible.
me off it, of course.
What do you got, Paul?
Well, I just think the mobile nature of it precludes some of these arguments. You know, I mean, if you plop a building somewhere, surely moving it becomes prohibitively difficult. But if this building, and I'm using air quotes, is on wheels and it has a tongue and it's roadworthy, I mean, Chan could say get the hell out tomorrow and you hitch and haul. I think it's very different, the whole mobile aspect versus permanent and stationary.
I'm not arguing that.
You know, and then
I'm
it's
just
less
saying-
than 8 feet wide.
I'm just saying,
It's
we were
frequent.
given the rules to play by, and those are the rules that we're gonna play by.
And like you
Until
said,
somebody
this
gives
is,
me different rules. This is above our pay grade.
and like you said, this is legislation that was introduced last year to try to clarify some of that, and it didn't get anywhere, so we're still stuck with the rules pre-tiny houses being an issue.
I think Vermont's doing the same thing.
Oh, yeah, I think so.
So what's the issue?
No, because they actually started it. I mean,
The
they-
notification came
Vermont's-
from, did not come from the landowner, from the property
So what
owner.
does Chin have to do now?
Come to a meeting.
Chan needs to come and sit in the chair and say, okay,
And putting the
I
building.
know.
Actually, he should be the one that filed a building notification.
Right.
Right. But
Just
now,
sign
now
the
we
letter.
wanna talk to him.
Just sign that letter, that's not good enough?
Anybody could sign
no,
it.
Right,
no, it's not. We are legally bound.
If it was a notarized letter, that would be different.
If it was
Well-
a notarized letter, I would entertain it a lot deeper.
sure.
Okay, all right, so that's a good point, all right, okay.
But
But I'll note also on the current, with the notification, when you asked me that question last week, what one checked on it, it said any person who extends the square footage, doesn't say any homeowner, any landowner. So it doesn't say the landowner has to make any notification, it's any person.
Property owner.
No, it says any person.
Name, owner's address,
Any person who expands the square footage.
expands, okay,
Right, so
of an existing residential.
any person who expands the new structure. Doesn't say whether that's an owner of the dwelling, owner of the trailer, or owner of the property. All it says in here is any person. Oh, yeah.
the law requires that we contact the owner.
State law.
Yes.
Okay.
That's what I've said time and time again. That's part of the problem here. It's
Just
a
say
reality.
it's written, that's not what it says.
What is that?
Building notification ordinance.
From the town of Grafton,
Yes.
which is all well and good.
Well, apparently it's not, from what you're saying.
From what I was told today. If you pull up the RSAs, and
Okay.
I actually had them, and I can email them to you.
I'm not arguing that.
RSA 75:3.
I'm not arguing the RSA, I'm arguing the ordinance. That's what I'm saying.
Ordinance needs to be changed. That's why the planning board's going through it.
I will not do that either.
No? Toss that in with the stuff that should be rectified, you know?
Cindy, how many acres?
Is Chan's land?
Yes.
10.
It was exactly 10.
It's 10 and something. Just over 10.
I have a deed right here, and I'm not seeing it. I don't think the deed even says.
Did you get a driveway application to go with that? Is there a septic design?
Yep. Well, that house was built before Chan.
Right.
That
No,
was,
I'm talking about the new one.
Composting.
Is there a driveway?
There is not a
application?
separate driveway. I assume she utilizes the driveway that exists at 272 Turnpike. There wasn't a need for another driveway to be built for that. Okay. All right. On to correspondence. We have an approval for construction of a septic system from the Department of Environmental Services for tax map 11, lot of 180-1 on Bullock's Crossing Road. for Roger Dauphiné. We have a application for a driveway permit for Anson Smith. Is this on 4A? On 4A, which the state approved?
No, it's the application process, just letting us know.
Just letting us know that he applied, it's not approved yet, okay. We have a job estimate from Phelps Construction. Ouch. To install 6-inch drain in crushed stone base with T's installed at roofs and valleys with grates around the town hall.
Nice.
Nice.
$5,000. Have you seen that?
That's a good deal.
It's not bad.
Right? I think that's a phenomenal deal.
Right.
Wow. I think we should call him and say, please, yes, please, before he wakes up and realizes.
Right?
This will correct the door issue and everything?
The drainage and stuff.
Yeah, the drainage around the building. And there's what, I think there was like 30,000 sitting in the town hall, plus we're asking to put more money into it, so the 5,000 to come out of there isn't a problem. My only concern is it premature to do this before dealing with the structural issues? And I don't know, I mean, I'm asking an honest question, I don't know, is it?
The sooner you can get water away from the building, the better.
Yeah, that's what
Yeah, I just don't know if you'd have to.
Yeah, but the problem is if you gotta come in here and you gotta jack it up, you're gonna destroy everything you just paid to have done.
Yeah, that's my concern.
You know, what goes putting in a 6-inch French drain all the way around the building if you gotta come in and dig out 3 feet?
Yeah.
How'd you like that one, huh?
You're not talking
Well,
about.
I
building
wouldn't say
building.
that, but you're right. I
It
mean,
wouldn't-
you'd want to
it
have the
wouldn't happen
building
till-
assessed.
I know the Hersey, Tommy Hersey, did a job like this for me at one point. Jacked up a barn and did the drain and everything around it. I'll try and get a hold of him and see what he says, and see if you do one quarter.
Okay. So we'll find out about that. This can't get done until spring anyway. Last thing in the mailbag is a letter from DES. A seasonal dock notification for a subject property on Tucker Road. Do you know, are you familiar with what this is? Sorry.
No, you came in the mail and I put it in
There
there.
you go. All right.
Definitely.
On December 21st, 2021, the New Hampshire Department of Environmental Services Wetlands Bureau received the above referenced seasonal dock notification for lakes and ponds. On December 22nd, they determined the criteria established under RSA 482A3-4-A were met. The seasonal dock may be installed as specified in the notification pursuant to that same RSA. So I think that they're just letting us know that a property on Tucker Road, tax map 15C, lot 396,
As
is
a dock.
okay to put a dock in.
As a duck.
And that takes us to the last round of public comment.
I have a question about the hall. There's no furnace filter in there last I knew. There's no place for a furnace filter in there, which means as long as this building's been breathing and we've been breathing in it, no furnace filter.
Do you have any update on that? I know Mr. Maintenance Man has been talking to Mike the mechanic about,
No, but I'll find out.
okay.
He and I did, actually, the three of us had a conversation about it at one point.
Better for us all.
Yeah,
Furnace system.
furnace filter in here.
You won't like the answer I'll give you that I usually give my wife. So when she starts coughing, I just tell her, you won't cough so much if you just stop breathing.
No, and I know that there's been conversation about, is that furnace, is there a way to retrofit a filter on that furnace? Is it even worth it? Should the furnace itself be replaced?
Putting in a filter is an easy job for a furnace guy.
Yeah,
I
you
mean,
just,
it's
you just
just-
gotta find a tin knocker.
Yeah, just opening up the plenum and
Yeah.
to the
Yeah.
right guy with the right tools, it's no big
Right.
deal.
But along that line is, we're looking at doing so many things to try to improve this building. Is it worth spending the money to put a filter in, or would we be better off?
It's short money. It's literally
Yeah,
cut,
the
it's
filter's
literally
small
cut
money.
a 1-inch slot in it, that
Yep.
you can slide it in.
Well-
It's short.
Talking a couple $100.
Okay,
How old is the furnace?
I I don't know, how old is the building? I don't think it's
It
quite
ain't
that, it's not that old.
Furnace ain't that.
But this is also, that's an oil furnace too, I believe, right?
Yeah,
Kerosene.
Kerosene, yeah, so there's probably potential to upgrade to something much more efficient and
one, when they do,
friendly.
I think that the vent should be considered, because what does 40 years of gunk look like?
Well, you just look at those, they're
Right.
disgusting.
Mm.
Which is part of the, maybe that's part of what we look at when we're looking at structural issues, because if you're gonna be crawling around under there anyway doing things,
Right.
it's probably a good time to take care of that too. Thank you, yes, it's on the list. Anyone else? Final comments from us two yahoos?
Did you see the email about the Bonnie heat?
Oh, yes, thank you, I completely forgot.
It seems that the supplier that promised the radiator for Bonnie's office doesn't have it, can't get it till maybe end of the month. Maybe. Their backup supplier does have one in stock, ready to go. It's another $176.
And everything else would be the same size-wise, everything else
It
we
is the
plan to
same
do is
unit.
gonna be good.
Yeah, from what I'm reading here, a different supplier that has a Boudreaux's radiator of the same
Okay.
size. So I'm believing it is the same unit, just at a different stockhouse.
$176 more.
Correct.
What was the original price?
Take that out of her fee.
I don't remember the original number. I think it was like 1,400 out the door, something like that.
It was just under $1,400. I wanna say it was like $1,386.
For a radiator?
$1,392.
Installed. It's a new zone. There's no heat. There's no heat in that office. When they built the wall where her window is,
Where the patio doors were.
the only heat in that end of the room is the strip on the floor where the customer would stand. So there's no heat in that. And the only thing, now that we've looked into it a little bit, all they did was put a piece of plywood over the patio doors. There's no studs, there's no nothing. You put your hand on that wall and it is cold as ice. So I would suggest just doing it, being done with it.
Well, it's a shame that we paid the bulk of it out of last year's budget. But,
The only thing I'm afraid of is if they don't have it now and we push it off a month, are they even gonna have it in a month?
no, and it's my understanding that there've been a lot of emails going back and forth just to coordinate their schedules so that it could get done in the next week or two. And
I see.
it's not gonna get any warmer.
Not for a while.
No, it's not gonna get any warmer. It looks like this has been going on since the end of December.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I saw something back and forth up the 11th or 12th or maybe the 14th, so.
Yes, that's on
If they've
the,
already-
it's on the back, here
Yeah.
we go. Yeah, looking for confirmed dates, and they came up with the 14th to get it done, and then found out they can't get the part. But if they go with $176 more, they'll get the part redone. And I would, in my opinion, is just get it done, because I'm sick of talking about
If
it.
you pay $176, we'll get it.
I don't disagree. For $176, let's get her done.
Sold.
I'll make that a motion.
I'll second it. I will email this to the husband this evening.
I bet I'll tell him before you do.
I bet you do too, because I'm gonna eat before I do anything else, because I'm a fat guy and I'm fading away quick. We'll talk about paper towel dispensers later, because it's getting late. Internet in the town hall.
Oh, internet at the town hall, yes.
So according to the illustrious Mrs. Smith, it'd be $59.99 a month. An additional $9.99 to lease the rota, which would be their problem, which I would recommend, because I've had two fail on me in the past
Absolutely.
3 years. But we could buy one for $154.
Sorry.
Take it.
No, we're good.
It's all you.
60 and 10, that's, I just wanted to know. Would we need to revisit our budget? if we're spending another $70 a month on
It's
phone
a
and
separate
internet.
contract, it cannot be part of the contract that we have in place.
I saw that.
Was there a separate installation fee? No.
They didn't mention installation fee.
Okay.
Generally, if they're gonna be sold to me for $60 a month, they don't charge you to run a wire at 30 feet.
Generally.
Actually, is there a phone in this?
There is a
Yes, sir.
phone,
Right behind you.
so they could just hook it up to
Yeah, did you
that.
see the cord
They
date?
turn it on, then all they do is turn it on, because it runs on the same wire.
Yeah,
So there is no install, just, here's your router, have a nice day.
Yeah. I think we should look at the budget, we might have to go back to the budget committee and ask them to adjust that, because $70 a month isn't nothing, we don't that much
That doesn't
adding in.
include taxes,
Right.
if they tax.
Well, and they love to raise fees and other things all the time, so we should probably figure at least 80 or 90, right?
just for internet, huh?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Wow.
If you think it's worthwhile in here. Love to hear if anybody's got an opinion one way or the other.
I
Yeah,
think
well,
there's
it is.
enough meetings and stuff that goes on here that it'd be nice to have internet here.
That's why I brought it up, because I keep hearing that again and again and again.
And the thing is you can actually have the meetings live with internet.
Over DSL, I doubt it.
No.
Really?
Well, it
Yeah,
would
they're
come in
funny.
handy for things like planning board and things like that, where if you're looking up RSA's, planning
That's
board
what it'd be good
has
for.
made, you see the headway that planning board has failed to make doing what we're trying to do, because we're looking up antiquated RSA's that
No, it'd be very useful for
we'll
that.
write down 3 or 4 notes and let's everybody go home and look them up and come back and talk about them again in 6 weeks,
See,
when
if
it
you
could have
had
been
the
dealt
books,
with in
it'd
6
be easier.
minutes.
Yeah, the books, it'd be easier.
Get the town to pay for the books.
I already approached one of your selectmen about that quite a while ago, didn't move anywhere.
The problem with the books is when they change it.
Right.
Yeah,
That's
Because
the
they change it
problem.
every year.
No,
they
they
change it
get
monthly.
updated every year, you get the revisions
yeah.
every year.
We're looking at basically $1,000 for the year.
You know, it
to
might
add to the
be
budget.
the same amount of money to get 25 gigs as getting
Hmm?
for the Wi-Fi, I mean, the, internet,
That's the lowest,
that's 3 meg.
that's the
25
bottom.
up, 3 down.
Yeah. It only goes up after that,
And you think it's that much money?
that's what they quoted me,
How much?
$59.99 a month. Plus $9.99
Is
for
it
the
because
router.
it's a business as opposed to a home?
That's the rate right now. That's their special right now.
That's their special? Boy, I'm gonna be calling them tomorrow. Yeah, right. I'm surprised they're even willing to come out and put it in, to be honest with you.
They don't have to come
We
out.
just
Oh,
established
they
it's
just
already
need to
caught by hanging
push
out
the
of the wall,
button.
that's all they need to do.
Okay.
Well, they,
But who sets up the router?
yeah, they just have the router.
My order got mailed to me.
Yeah, it's mailed to you and then you set it up yourself.
You can pay to have somebody come install it,
Oh,
or
okay.
they'll mail it
That
to
must
you.
be the difference, because Mark came to our house and did ours, and we had to pay for that. That was like $120, I think.
No, they mailed me mine the first time, and then the second one, they mailed me, and the third one,
So when they mail this one, you're gonna install it for us?
I'll plug it in the wall.
Okay.
Just plug it in the wall.
Oh, actually, maintenance man could probably handle
Yeah,
it.
Mr. Maintenance, we can put the square plug in the square hole, it's
Yeah.
not overly
So-
We can handle
complicated.
it.
You gonna get a computer to go with it, or is everybody gonna bring their own?
It's
Bring
like
your
a-
own.
Cell
Wi-Fi.
phones and,
Wireless Wi-Fi.
yeah,
So all I'm talking about is putting Wi-Fi
just,
in there.
No.
okay.
Mm.
I'm
You don't have a password.
not even offering Cat 5.
Do you wanna do it?
I'm game for doing it, I mean, I've had enough people and I've been in enough
Yeah.
situations where I've gone looking for the internet. I mean, I've gone now looking for emails to pull up stuff that you guys had here and again. I'll make you a motion to do it.
I agree. I'll second that rather.
I thought we were in limbo because we had to go back to the budget, and I didn't.
I don't think it'll be a hard sell,
Okay.
and, you know, we can still,
They're all
for the
gonna
welfare
benefit from
budget,
it.
like we always do.
Even the budget committee, they might be able to make an informed
I
decision.
feel the love.
All right. Any other public comments from the selectmen? Anybody got anything else to say? Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Have a good night.